So here we are, we got feet together, feet apart. Pretty much the same stuff every month to get started. Soften your hips, soften your knees, let your shoulders relax. Arms come up, make a big heart shape. Arms come down, we push down. Let your hips shift a little bit so you feel like your center of gravity is right between your knees. Inhale. Exhale, come on in. Arms up, chin up. Arch your lower back a little bit. Arms down, chin down, round your back somewhat. So I draw attention when we go up, it's easy to arch your back when your chin is up. When your chin goes down, it's not just the lower back, it's the whole spine that gets a bit rounded. So it gives us this wave of movement up and down the spine. Relax your eyes. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Try to breathe as much as you can through your nose. In through the nose, out through the nose. Helps us to breathe deeper. We get filtered air. It also gets this, what do they call it? It's a signaling molecule. If you want to get into the science, it's nitric oxide. When you breathe through your nose, your body knows that you're trying to do this, and the blood vessels get bigger. They dilate, so there's more blood flow when you breathe through your nose. It's amazing, all the stuff that happens. So again, everything's loose. My fingers, my shoulders, my spine, I'm not trying to tense anything. But as I push down, I do pull back on my abdomen. Pull the muscles back from the abdomen. Inhale, relax your stomach. Exhale, squish the stomach. Shift your weight forward. Inhale, towards the ball of your foot. Right about here, I'm flat on my foot. Towards the bottom, I shift towards my heels. So that's the connection from the fingertips all the way to the toes. Just trying to link everything together. Inhale. Exhale. So we're going to do about 3 more of these, then move on to our next set. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Often we try to go slower and deeper. Wonderful. So I'm getting warm already. As soon as I start doing this stuff, I usually start to feel a little rush of warmth throughout the body. So again, I keep my feet shoulder width. Most of the exercise we're working on this month, you keep your feet somewhat flat. There's not as much shifting back and forth until we get into the Tai Chi sets, the Tai Chi forms. So I'm trying to keep my center of gravity low, my feet are flat. So here's the idea of shrugging my shoulders and then reaching down as if I'm drilling my hands into some sand. We do this kind of a similar exercise throughout our movements, but now I'm going to twist. My eyes follow my hand as far back as I can go, and then I come back to the opposite corner. And then the hands make this little triangle shape, and it's like I'm in the pool. I push the ball into the water as I sink my hips. So we'll just do that much and then alternate. So I shrug. I call this drilling because I'm twisting like a drill. Make a W shape. When I'm not twisting, that's the best time for me to inhale. As I start to twist, the lungs get somewhat compressed, and that's a good time to exhale. So I come back to the front, I'm untwisted, so I inhale again, start to twist towards that left corner, I exhale, and bring the arms down. So that's like step 1. You got a couple different pieces and parts here, but this whole exercise, we'll call it step 1. So inhale, exhale. As far as you can twist comfortably. Inhale as you're coming back and untwisting. Exhale as you come down. So part 2 is to now make your hands into the shape like you're holding a ball in front of your navel. And then I do the same gesture with my spine, where I try to twist as far as I can. Look your eyes towards the back corner. Come back to that opposite front corner. Push the ball into the water. So we'll just go on and do step 3 right away too. So now I'm holding the ball in front of my chest. Thumbs are relaxed. If your thumbs are like this, you have tension, so let the thumbs relax. Fingers are loose. The same idea. Gently twist the whole torso. Your eyes look towards that back corner. Come back. Push the ball into the water again. So now we're up to 3 parts. So this was the first. This scooping, drilling, making a W, turning as far as you can, like a big spring winding up, unwind, a little more twisting to the left as you push down. That's step 1. Step 2, hold the big ball. So I'm not trying to arch my lower back, it's kind of neutral. Come back, push the ball into the water, and come up, shoulder height, relax your thumbs, relax your shoulders. Inhale, and then back, exhale, inhale, exhale. So I'm giving you kind of like the simple pattern of breathing. There's other ways of doing it, and I'll do the whole thing and it's 1 breath. So I'm kind of breaking it down quite a bit here. So let's do 1 more set, both sides, in, out, in, out, in. Feel everything loose and comfortable. Out. Stomach height. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Shoulder height. Everything relaxed, comfortable. In at the front. Out at the twist. In at the front. Out at the twist. So 1 more on the other side. Up, down, drill. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Stomach. In. Out. In. Out. Shoulder height. In. Out. In. Out. So the way we finish it, like we would, with some of the other exercises, there's that splash, there's the drill, there's the W. Same exercise that we often do with the neck turning, to the opposite sides and then up, and then finishing with the top portion, looking up and down. Just now we have this extra spine thing. So I'm not critiquing anybody. Out of the corner of my eye, I can see sometimes. I'm not going to run over there and tell you, do this or whatever. But the whole thing, when we put our arms up like this, we're on the plane, right? We're on the vertical plane. So as we twist, as much as you can, try to stay on that plane. Some of you will start to do this because you have tension in your back or your neck or your shoulders, so they don't move together. They start to separate. Here, it's not as noticeable, but it still does happen, where like in your thought, you're like, oh, I want to go farther, so you end up doing this. It's like the arm drags further, but this side doesn't come with. So this is when we get into using like apparatus, like a ball. You would hold on to a ball, and it would kind of make you go together, because if you come apart, you're going to drop the ball. So it just makes you a little bit more aware of it. This exercise, you would use like a broomstick or something, piece of wood, and then you would do the same thing where you try to just hold it and turn together. And you would probably notice that your range doesn't go as far, but you're engaging both sides of the body together. So, in the future we might do some of that. Again, we're asking you to bring in an apparatus of some sort, or we're talking about the dumbbells, little dumbbell type exercises that kind of coincide with what this stuff is, Tai Chi and Qigong. So anyway, if you can, try to be aware of that plane, and that's what you're trying to stay within. So the next exercise, which would be like number 4, we're doing it separate from the 3 because it's got a lot going on. So we go from here. I got my feet parallel, they're shoulder width. They go to the corner. So now my feet are in the right spot, my hips are in the right spot because I sink them, my center of gravity is low. Here's the idea of the nose and navel, holding that big ball again. Come across further towards your side, over by your hip, on the side of your body here. Come up to your shoulder, kind of like you're rolling your sleeve down, You get to your elbow, these hands are in the protect position. And this comes up often in Tai Chi, right? So you're protecting your face, you're protecting your underarm. I want to go to the other side. So again, there's going to be more detail. I turn my feet in and then out. So they're in the right spot. I sink my hips so I'm stable. Now I got the ball on the other side. So my back's kind of arched right now. I want to get it so that I'm rounded, taking the tension off the lower back as I come across. Find your shoulder. These kind of rub against each other, creating a little friction. Friction creates circulation. And then we sink. So you see how my back's kind of up, kind of arched right now? I want to tuck my tailbone and kind of dip my chin so the whole spine goes from like the arching to kind of more like a J shape, like this. Time to go to the other side. So I shift my weight so this left leg is kind of taut. It's got tension on it. I turn in, turn out, feet are in the right spot, waist is in the right spot. Here's the ball. Inhale. When we sink into it here, I'm going to exhale. You can breathe wherever you need to. I'm just giving you spots to do it. So I turn the feet, I sink the waist, I embrace the ball. Stretch across. So I'm kind of opening to inhale, but as I sink into it, I'm exhaling. These hands, the webbing is the reference point. So the top hand, the webbing is by my nose. The webbing on this hand is just below my elbow. And they pull back gently because I want to still stay relaxed. So I turn the feet, sink the waist, last part's the arms. Very typical of our Tai Chi concepts. Arch the back and then kind of round the back as you tuck your tailbone and dip your chin. Wrists are pulled back gently. All right, I'm going to move a step or two over here. I'm going to do one more on each side. So feet, waist, arms, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So this stance is the Bagua, B-A-G-U-A, Bagua. And relax and sink. And it's typically defined by this lower body with the feet apart, parallel, sunk at the hips. This is all going to change. There's different variations of things we can do with the arms, plus twisting of the torso. So it's pretty cool. I think it's amazing that they connected all of this philosophy of the I Ching, the Bagua, with the 8 parts of harmony, and they made it into the martial arts and the fitness exercises that coincide with it. I think it's fascinating how it all connects. So Tai Chi has a bit more of this type of movement where it's vertical with waves, with the ocean. The Bagua has a bit more twist. It's wind. It's the wind and the water get you fire, which is the concept of Qi. Qi is your fire, your internal fire. All this stuff connects, right? Again, I find it fascinating. Next exercise. We keep our hips sunk, so we're stable, feet are flat. Scoop up the teacup, put it up on the shelf. To get to the other side, my hand reaches across, my arm comes across. They rub together, create that little bit of warmth, and then we're to the side here. So this, I can just keep my hand flat, or look what I'm doing with my fingers. They get a little spiral to them. So to go to the other side, again, I reach. This hand's kind of rubbing, creating that heat. I get over to here, that's my exhale. Hands are a little bit spiraled. Or you can just go flat, it's fine. Inhale again when we're untwisted. As we twist the spine a little bit, exhale. So now I'm going to sink a little bit more. So my center of gravity is more stable. Because as I start to do this, this is the first part. This is the second part. I put the teacup under my arm. Tuck the arm down, come back to where we started from. So again, this is the hand that gets us started. I go to the other side. That's 1. 2, hide the teacup under your arm. This other hand protects your face. 3 is the same as 1. We just come back over to here. So to get the other side, this hand, right hand, initiates it. Inhale, exhale. Tuck your elbow. This comes up. Go over the top of your head. Here's the hand position from Bagua. Here's the lower body position from the Bagua stance. All right, so I want to go again. So this part here is called scrubbing, by the way, when the arms rub together, you create friction. So I got 1, 2, tuck the arm, trace your arm over the top of your head, protect your side. Turn your feet are in the right spot, waist is in the right spot. I put a little tension on my hands and arms. The shoulders are pushing out, but the hands are pulling back. So if something comes at me right now, big dog jumps on you, you find yourself in a situation, a Great Dane's on you, if your back is straight like this and you go to protect yourself, good chance you're going to fall over. So that's why you have to kind of tuck your tailbone and dip your chin so the back rounds slightly. Now the pressure comes and it goes to your back foot. That's how the structure of your body works. So again, other side. Inhale. Exhale. Tuck. If you can go over the top comfortably, I try to thread my head kind of through my arm. And then I touch my shoulders and then I end up in the same spot. Feet, waist, arms. Exhale as you sink into it. Other side. Right. Left. So how did I do that? I kind of thread my head, trace the shoulders, present the arms, protect your whole body. Okay, you're gonna do one more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So again, we can finish it with the splash, the flick, push the ball into the water, shift a little bit, feel the tension in your spine disperse a little bit, splash, flick, stretch the neck, splash, flick, stretch the neck up, and then down. So in case you haven't noticed it, I do enjoy this stuff. There's a lot of detail. If you don't pick it all up, who cares? You do what you can. If you can pick up 1 or 2 pieces and parts of it and you feel good from it, that's wonderful. If you can get to where you're doing this weird, like how do you do that? That's because I started doing this when I was very young, and you keep doing it, your body keeps it. So some of you I know are jumping into us now. It's like, I can't do that. Do what you can. So the next 2 movements, next exercise we do on the right side, feet apart, foot draws back. Here's our bow stance. So when we practice Tai Chi, we do this often with the shifting of the weight from the front leg to the back leg. So if this is kind of a vertical plane that we're moving in, now we bring our hands down over here. The hands are like there's a table right in front of me here. So my hands are moving on a horizontal plane. My knees, my hips are going on that vertical plane. So when I come back, my hand goes to my hip. When I go forward, my hands are over my foot. Inhale when you pull back, exhale when you go forward. So hopefully you're relaxing while you're doing this. These hands are light, your shoulders are relaxed. It's like turning a millstone is what it's called. So you're kind of like grinding flour if you want to, go back 100 years or whatever, right? So if I'm looking at my hands, that means my head's probably just staying stable with my spine. So if I look straight out and don't look at the hands, now the part between your shoulder blades of your spine and your lower part of your neck are starting to get a little twist, just by keeping your head straight. Because the shoulders and spine are what's doing the little twist. So we've done, I'm sure, at least 10 on this side. I shift my weight back to this leg. This foot turns. Now I shift the weight to the front leg. Here's my cat stance. There's my bow stance. All the same Tai Chi principles of what we've been doing all along. So here's the back and forth. If your knees don't enjoy this, then stay here. If you just stay there, that has more of a tendency to build strength, just staying in the position. The shifting back and forth is strength and flexibility. So now I circle to the left side. Once you get comfortable, try to relax your shoulders more. Try to inhale on the way back, exhale on the way forward. When that gets comfortable, try to level off your chin, looking straight instead of doing this. My chin is not level there. Here, chin is level. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's slow it down. In. Out. And you can always breathe more on your own. Don't go by my pace if you need more breaths. All right, so we've done about 10 on that side. Next set of exercises. Same family, different way of getting there. So we have this concept that we've already done with the arm coming up. So we're going to call that rising. It's Tai Chi. If we're doing Tai Chi stuff, if we have rising, we have a falling. There's a drilling. We're doing drilling down here. Now it's drilling out. All right, so let's try that much again. Those 3 of them. Rise up. Drop down. Drill. So the drilling is also kind of reaching with my shoulder. That's a unusual position for your arm to be in. So that means if you do it more, it gets to be normal, and this actually is really good for your neck and your shoulder and your wrist. All right, let's move to the other side. So now I'm going to sink this a little bit so I'm a little more stable, as opposed to just standing straight up or whatever. Sink your hips, rise up, put the teacup up on the shelf, come back. It just fell on the floor and you're moving it. That's like our brush knee from Tai Chi right there. This drill is our part of the part the horse's mane exercise. All right, but this is Bagua, so it's different, a little twist to it. So now you saw how I did that little shift right there? That's what we want to do. We got the lift up, rising, drop down. Turn the toes, bend your knee. So that's a bow stance, drill, reach out. Come back to the horse stance, come back to your shoulder, upright. My spine is upright, my hand is upright. Press the wall, let it relax. So now we forget about this side. Rise up, inhale. Drop down, exhale. Feet, waist, arms, drill. So if it was part the horse's mane, our hand would be more like this. With what we're doing now, I'm doing more of a twist this way. Horse stance, come to your shoulder, upright. So just like Tai Chi, there's different themes for it, right? So this is kind of like a dragon. Dragons fly, they're up in the air. This is a snake slithering down. This, put phoenix. Phoenix is the bird rising from the ashes, right? This is a bear. The bear is upright, it's gonna claw you. The next one is embrace. Embrace the ball. But we come all the way to the elbow, all the way to the forearm. So now we go to the other side. So if I'm embracing, this is coming, or if I'm lifting, I'm coming up. So lifting is up, arm coming down, hips come down. Drilling, upright. Grab the ball, nose and navel, and then elbow to elbow. All right, so how many is that? 4? We're gonna do that many today. So I start it again, rise up, inhale. Drop down, exhale. Drill, inhale. Exhale. Come back to your shoulder, upright. That's 4. Embrace. Elbow to elbow. So it's 5 of the 8. So again, lift up. That's like the teacup. Exhale. It's like brush knee. Inhale. Kind of like part the horse's mane with a little more twist. Inhale. There's our open palm from when we do split, right? So all the same components, just expressed differently. And then embrace is the ball, but now we actually squish it. All right, let's do one more on each side. Inhale. Exhale. So this other hand can rest over here, so it has a place. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We're on the right side, so the right hand drops and embraces. Now we're going to the left side. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. If you want to lean into it, Then you're again gonna put a little strain on your back, which might help if you want your back to get stronger. If your back is weak, it's gonna be a little awkward. Upright, we're on the left side. So it embraces underneath, we squish. So again, we splash, flick, look up to the left and then down. Splash, up to the right and then down. Splash, look straight up. Push the ball down. So that's kind of what we're going to focus on. Where are we at with the time here? So that's almost the halfway mark. So it's half of the class doing some type of Qigong, whether it's Tai Chi is Qigong, or exercises from Bagua. Either way, we're monitoring our breathing and we're doing Bagua, B-A-G, like you're holding a bag, U-A. U-A. It could be W-A, but usually it comes up like if you do an internet search, it'll be B-A-G, U-A. And if you type just that in, oftentimes this image will come up with the Tai Chi symbol in the center and then the 8 different hexagrams or trigrams for this. Trigrams, there's 3 lines, and that's balance. So you got balance like black and white. Not really black and white because you have a line down the center. That's kind of the gray area. With the 8, now it's like, oh, I can get even more balance. I'm not just in one plane, I'm in multiple planes. So that's very relative when we start practicing Tai Chi. It's just, that's the Bagua system. So it's like I said last time, it's 3 parts of the same triangle. Each one has its place. And then there's the other triangle, which gets the fire. So that's wind. Fire is Qigong with the breathing aspect of it. Any questions? Yeah, I expect you to remember all this. You know, even after a couple classes, it gets to be daunting, probably to say the least. So if no questions, let's move into Tai Chi mode. And again, you'll start to see the overlap with some of the exercises. So we're doing the sideways configuration because when we start doing this form, once we get more into it, it keeps going side to side. So in this room, you know, we'll try that and see how it works. All right? So we got the same fundamentals that we start off with pretty much for all the Tai Chi forms, which is the 5 directions. Arms come up and go forward. Arms sink down and go backward. And that's coming from the hips. Here's the ball. Shift. Part the horse's mane. So even here, there can be a little twist with the fingers, but in Bagua, it's definitely like, you know, turning a light bulb. It's all relaxed. Back to the center. Feet, waist. Arms finish. Back to the center. Feet, waist, arms. So this is a poking motion. So we attach that to metal. This is a pulling sensation. So that's wood, like a wooden tree branch, has flex to it. This linking from the feet to the waist to the arms, that's water. It's kinetic linking, one joint to the next. Same on the other side, that's fire. They're opposites, but very similar. And then center is earth, most stable. So even with this beginning exercise, it still is all about the feet, the waist, the arms. So when you're not sure, like, what are we doing, Jim? Look at your feet first. Make sure your feet are doing something. At the very least, they're in the right spot and they're not. I actually showed this to Paul the other day. You were kind of surprised my foot. It's not just my foot, it's part of the shoe. And then Paul said, yeah, but my foot doesn't move like that even without the shoe. So in theory, your foot, you should be able to manage it the same way your hand. It's a similar joint. Similar, not the same. So when we do some of the exercises, there's, you know, we haven't done that in this class, but that's an exercise. So the feet, I got my feet in the right spot, but I initiate getting to the ball of my foot from my hips. And then the arms come along. Going back, it's the same thing. My feet kind of shift, my hips shift, and then the arms are at the end. So it's almost in every exercise we do. So that's our 5 directions. If we go to this one now, that's the knee buckling. This, we technically would call this the 7-star stretch, but we just kind of do it as a quick transition to get us to the cat stance. Nose and navel. Step with your heel, C-step. We call that a C-step because if you look down, it's kind of like you're tracing a letter C. And then we have ward off, which is level with your nose. This other hand is just underneath. Hands kind of do like a splash. You roll the ball back. Right about here, I catch the ball again. Nose and navel. Find the pulse. When I shift back, it's the feet, the waist, the spine unwinds. This is a pulling motion, but it also comes down and then back up and out. So there's like a circle here. If you're looking at it from your side, that's a circle. We go to turn, feet, waist, arms, feet, waist, arms, do our split. So again, here's that back and forth that I talked about earlier. Bagua has a lot more of this going on. Tai Chi, a little bit. Where our spine gently twists a little bit. Right here, a little bit. And then it unwinds. No spine twist here, but it's arching. And then rounding a little bit. Time to turn, my back is just neutral. And there's our split. So, the philosophy too, you got the name of what you're doing. You're keeping something away, but that's heaven. It's kind of expanding out. This is grounding, very stable, so that's earth. Shoulder, this is the sequence of a mountain down the canyon, the water at the bottom of the mountain. This is the wooden branch, pull it back, and you let it snap. Splitting is thunder. So you all pretty much have been experiencing what's happening here. Every time I do this, it keeps dragging me back a few feet. So every now and then you gotta adjust, right? So no matter what configuration we're in, there's always gonna be some little scuttling around trying to find where the open space is at. Hopefully you're all good with that. That's a great thing. That's spatial awareness, spatial awareness. So, wow, I didn't even know you were standing there. How many times does that kind of thing happen? Someone comes up and taps you, oh my gosh, didn't even realize it. This actually is helpful, all right? So that's our 8. Let's do one more time on each side. We got ward off. We have roll back. Shoulder, elbow, wrist, that's a set of 3. Pull, push, relax your shoulders, your neck, split. So those are 8. Oh, 8 goes back to that chart thing there with the Bagua, the I Ching. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. So this movement right here, I call it split, but the fancy name for it is single whip. And that's the idea that you have a piece of wood pole across your back, you're lugging water or other items in it, and one hand is kind of like holding it for control, the other hand's pinched over the edge. And if you need to let go of it, both hands would just kind of release, and then they would be able to defend themselves or stop the tiger from jumping on them, whatever. It all goes back to the history of these people trying to stay alive and survive. So the split is a good example of alignments. The hand is roughly over the foot, as opposed to if I was here, hand would not be over the foot. Elbow over your knee, shoulders over your hips. This is the most important one, right here. Occasionally we'll do one of these things, like with needle at the bottom of the C, your back goes forward, but almost all the exercises, your spine is aligned. The hands, occasionally it might go a little different, like this one's not over my foot, it's way over here. So that's the general thing. Foot, knee, shoulder and hips. All right. So let's move forward, or to the side rather. So if we link this all together, we're going to do kind of this shortened version still, where there's only going to be one of each of the exercises for the most part. So we got the feet, the waist, the arms. That movement is called the opening. We do it at the end, we call it the closing, the end. So now we turn, here's our part the horse's mane. This hand is doing that snake, like the snake dropping. That's the brush knee I'm talking about. So then we come up to here, where my feet are back in cat stance, nose and navel, find your pulse, shoulder, elbow, wrist over to the side here. This hand protects your face, right hand, your left hand does another brush knee. So I'm still kind of protecting myself in 2 different directions here. Someone throws you a ball, you catch it. Thank you, I catch it. This bottom hand rolls it, and then I push this hand away. So again, my hand's kind of over my foot, but it's a little bit more over to the side, right? Feet come together, strum the guitar. That's kind of a little flicking motion. Extra credit is try to balance, set your toes down, set your heel down. Here's that protect I'm talking about. Push your shoulders away. This one, the hands pull back kind of like a chop, as opposed to the Bagua, it's this way. This is that direction. So here I look over my shoulder. Wherever this hand is at, that's kind of where I want to put my foot. So I see a little dot on the floor there in the wood. So I'm trying to get my foot close to that. It's a little awkward, but that's what I'm trying for. And then I push high and low. This stance right here, we call this 3 pillars, because this goes back to the alignments. Hand over your foot, elbow over your knee, shoulders over your waist, 3 of them. Do one more, because that's about as much room as we'll be able to do this way. And there's our repulsed monkey. Nose and navel. Bow stance. Here's our 8 basic energies or branches, if you will. Ward off, roll back, shoulder, elbow, press. Pull is kind of a circle motion. Push. So there's no split here. I turn. Number 8 just is getting you to the other side. Then we do it again. Ward off, roll back, try to get your toes straight with the wood on the floor. Shoulder, elbow, wrist, pull, push. Now, we get all the way over to here. We come over to this spot again. We come to do this again. Shoulder, elbow, wrist. So a little while ago we did it with white crane spreads its wings. Now it turns into split, sink, relax. Hands over my foot, elbows over my knee, shoulders over my waist. So let's do that much again. That's like about halfway through. Most of you have tried this before all the way through, but we'll stop and go start it again. So feet, waist, arms. Feet, waist, arms. Feet, waist, arms. So each exercise has those 2 parts. 2 times we do the feet, the waist, the arms. Almost every exercise has that. Feet, waist, arms, and then here we're still doing arms. To get to the next step, feet, waist, arms. Feet, waist, arms. Most of the time when we add the balance, we'll do that as like the extra after we did the arms. So you can decide if you want to try to balance. Look where you're going. Feet, waist, arms. Look where you're going. Feet, waist, arms. Ward off. Roll back. So right about here, it's good to get the toes straight. If they're not straight with the wood, and breathe out. In, out. So look how I get to the other side. I let my right knee buckle. I do the 7-star stretch, I turn in, that's a buckle, stance still, and then I slide into cat stance. And then again, bow stance, ward off, roll back, shoulder, elbow, wrist, make sure your toes are going straight and your knee straight, push. So my knee buckles, I stretch my ankle, get all the way over to here. So this is a little more advanced the way we're doing it here. I've started doing that the last couple of classes. Hold the teacup, split, sink. All right, so next is wave arms like clouds. Turn your toes and your knees to the front. Come to your hip, and then this is the shoulder, elbow, wrist coming to the side here. When my feet come together, I do the other one. So it's the same arm movement, different legs. Legs apart, legs together. So this one we do it 3 times. You're probably gonna run out of room, but we'll still do it 3 times. Because when we get to the end, then it's cat stance, hold the teacup, pinch, there's our split again. Sink. All right, so we keep going. If you're gonna run into the corner, back up a couple steps, so it's just a matter of, kind of scooting back, cat stance. So this is kind of up. Brush knee is low. Come across, pat the high horse, so it's high. The hand is high, so it's always going to be a balance of the arms. If this one there's the balance here, the arms are going two different directions. So that's left and right, even though they're doing the same thing. If you can balance, show me your skill. I'm looking out of the back of my head. Inhale, not so much. Double punch. Cat stance. So again, the arms are doing the same thing, but they're going different directions. So there's the balance. Inhale, exhale. Cat stance is going to go right to here. So when I set the foot down, I kind of go to this spot. Snake creeps. Toes are straight, but now toes turn. That whole thing is called snake creeps. Back to the front. Here's the plucking. Stand on one leg if you can. Toes straight. Toes turn. Snake creeps is the whole thing. Back to the front with your toes, your knees. I got the arm plucking, I got the other hand brushing. We call this whole thing rooster standing on one leg. Back to cat stance. Catch the big ball. Big ball, we gotta have a little ball. Step to the side. If we're gonna have our left hand on top, we're gonna put our right hand on top. We're gonna push, the other hand pulls. So all these opposites. Big ball, little ball. Push the arm, pull the hand. Feet come together, I adjust. There's cat stance. So again, if I go up, I'm gonna go down. Point the fingers, scoop up. Bow stance, kind of a, see how my bow stance should be, but I'm kind of facing the corner, so I just adjust it this way. Let the fan spread out. Turn. For just a moment, there's a little white crane spreads its wings, and then we go fist, fingers, punch down the length of your arm. Roll your sleeve, push, step to the corner, turn to the corner, turn to the front. That's all kind of smooth. Scoop up, and then expand. And then, like I said earlier, the last thing we do is the first thing we do, the opening and closing. So that's one time through the whole thing. Yay! It took us about 5 to 10, I don't know, probably 7 minutes, I guess we average it, with me talking and kind of explaining it. Any questions?
Yes, I do.
Sure.
When you do these, like when you back like this, should your feet be this far apart?
They should be apart, and what we call, that's a channel. We call that a channel in this network of, exercises. So if each one of these boards is part of a channel, we want to have something in between there. So when we do that step, I go from my left shoulder to my right shoulder. There should be enough distance in between there that if I'm looking at these planks on the floor here, for this room with these things, there's probably about 5 or 6 of them in between there.
You get lateral support.
Yes.
I keep finding the lateral.
So when we start, and there's some of the exercises where we go from here to here, my toes are on that same line, but the stability of this one is still kind of front and back. There is some to the sides, but not as much. When we move into this stuff, right here, what we're doing right now, you gotta move to here. Because if your foot is straight and the back one is turned, then you're kind of doing the tightrope. So shoulder width is kind of the reference for getting that channel. All right, good question. Cat stance, that doesn't really apply because they're on the same line and then we're here. And that's a different type of movement because that gets us to be able to turn and our stability is like able to move. This, we're trying to be solid, very stable. Something comes at you, you're gonna absorb it in your spine, but your leg is giving you stability. Something comes from the side, you still have some stability. That's what the bow stance is for. Anything else? Rubbing. So I feel it now because it's warm in here and I generated some heat. You generated some heat from being in the room and breathing. So anytime you touch, that is acupressure. Instead of getting a needle out and saying I'm gonna do it, no, I'm just constantly rubbing different parts of my body. So if you like, do it. If not, that's fine. Let's keep going. So we got this again. This time we're gonna do it with less talking and more breathing. More focus on the deep breaths. Inhale, exhale. So if you were to look down right now, you should have a couple planks in between your heels. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So this one is actually heels line up with your toes. So you're kind of on the same line, but that gives you stability in a different direction. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. In. Out. Back, down, up and out. In. Out. In. Out. Relax your shoulders. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. Toes straight, knees straight. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Oop. Out. In. Sometimes this one will be a scrub here too. You can scrub and then punch. I'm just going to back up. In. Out. 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 So even though I'm going to lean over, my back does not really round on this one. So if you can't go that far, then you go up here. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Scoop up. Expand. Sink. Ready to go again. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. So instead of just catching the ball in this one, really what we want to do, and I showed it last time, this comes past your face twice. 1, 2. Here's the ball. Here's another ball. You roll the one ball and you push the other ball away. All right? So just to do that again if you want. Right arm, left arm. You end up in the same spot. Inhale. Exhale. Protect. Inhale. Exhale. In. Out. Tuck your tailbone, dip your chin a little bit. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. So these steps right here, this is good to make sure that your feet are apart. So you do have that stability we were just talking about. And breathe out. In. Out. In. Out. Feet, waist, arms. Feet, waist, arms as you breathe out. Relax your shoulders. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. So I am going to move back. In. Out. Toes straight. Toes turn. In. Out. Toes straight. Toes turn. In. Out. 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 So the way I've been trying to finish this up the last couple of classes is just a quick review back to the beginning. With this twist, push down and out. One more on the other side. In. Out. And then just straight up. And down and out. How'd we do? So, got a couple minutes yet, I think. I don't know, a minute or two short, but any questions? So that's great. You ask questions. Oftentimes people, they don't. And it's like, just whatever Jim's doing. I'm sure I offer a lot of information. So it's like, I don't even know what to ask sometimes. You know, I'm thinking, what do I ask? I'm talking the whole time. No. If you do have something particular, ask it during the class if you can. If not, stay after a couple minutes. Usually I talk with everybody. That's it. Finish up. Be well.